Welcome to Students Talk Back, a new video segment at northeastvalleynews.org. This is your chance to voice your opinion on current events. Watch for our reporters around campus or email us at northeastvalleynews@gmail.com to participate.
Unfortunately, when it comes to politics, I have a type of out view of it's not really in our hands. At the end of the day, it's in the electoral hands, and unfortunately, it's really mostly Republican. So I don't think we're going to see an impeachment at all, and it's probably going to be a not guilty verdict, which in personal stance isn't right. But again, we're just a little person in a big world, so who knows?
Honestly, I don't think much of it. I think it's more so a prevention of Trump getting reelected as opposed to getting him out of being president. Obviously, they've done things like this in the past with other previous presidents that they haven't had a liking to. But I think just the timing and the way that it's being handled as is, I don't think it's going to be an impeachment.
So both Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham have said at one point or another that they're not making any attempt to be impartial jurors. So it seems pretty obvious, I think, to most of the world who's actually paying attention to it, that since the Senate is Republican controlled, of course there are a few senators who might flip one way or the other on their moral grounds or what have you, but it's pretty obvious that he's not going to be found guilty. I mean, this impeachment did occur and it's historic and it bugs him and all that, but overall it's a pretty bad time for democracy because I think we know about a lot of illegalities happening out there and we just reduce them to semantics that we watch in the Senate. So yeah, it's not the greatest, but he's going to be innocent and we'll probably have him as our president again.
No, I mean, when you look at, there's all types of diseases in the world. We have to take every preventive measure that we can, including, even if it's not a huge thing in the US, it's being able to find antidotes and things like that for those kind of viruses. It kind of goes back to the swine flu thing. I traveled to China when that was a big thing, and they had the exact same things going on where we couldn't get off the plane until we were taking our temperature and like a whole bunch of other things. And it's kind of just the safety of your own country. So, I mean, we can do a little more, I think.
I think being able to kind of take those precautions that they're doing, I don't know the specifics of what kind of precautions they're taking in terms of the screenings and everything, but, and obviously I'm sure there's not much medical evidence of preventing the virus from spreading or understanding really what it is. But I think some form of medical checks and stuff like that should be necessary if they are trying to travel intercontinentally, you know. Just so, because I understand people are traveling and they're trying to get home and stuff, but being able to, I guess, kind of limit the spreading as much as we can without preventing them from getting home is probably, in my opinion, the best way to do it.
Most screenings are some measure of security theater, but I guess it's good that we're looking for things. I think generally when it comes to viruses and pathogens, the ones that are actually going to get us, no matter what we try to do, it'll probably be too little because people, even when we're trying to be germ and microbiota conscious or whatever, we're not really good at it. So, I mean, we have a lot of experience dealing with international travel and people with diseases and so forth. We generally do a pretty good job of not all dying from a pandemic, so it'll probably be enough with this one.
In order for it to play out, I think the city's gonna dwindle a little bit. They'll give them some prices and they'll negotiate back and forth. But because the city is so big and there's so many people that use that kind of transportation, I think in the end they'll end up finding a negotiation somewhere along the line. But then again, the city can be stubborn sometimes too, so it's kind of a 50-50 chance, really.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
No problem.
Participation.
No problem.
I don't particularly think that's very fair. I mean, it's the same reason as people calling a taxi getting out of the airport. You know, unless there's a surplus of too many Ubers showing up at the airport, just kind of sitting there waiting and preventing other people from, you know, from like having other people come in and picking them up at the right times, and like there's a traffic jam or something, then I could understand that. But there are other ways to go around it other than raising like a penalty. Like you could limit the Uber drivings to like Uber pools or something where multiple people are going in one car and getting out. So I mean, I don't particularly think that a higher fee is very fair, especially for those people that are the Uber drivers, and they live close to the airport. You know, that's probably a majority of the money that they're getting from Uber. So I don't particularly think a raise in that is going to do anything or is fair.
I mean, I guess it'll just be interesting to watch. I don't think that's a super smart move for Uber, just because it's already not a totally profitable job for you if you are an Uber driver. I know that there are a lot of, you know, obviously the fast food places and so forth try to make arrangements with you and make you usable, but I understand it's hard for those people individually to actually use that as a legitimate source of income. So if anything, I think it'll just give them trouble because, yeah, I mean, you've got taxi services as well. I mean, you have other rideshare services and so forth. I don't think that'd be good for them.